So you don't know what to wear with PK. This is the second installment of our Wilderness PK series, teaching you what to wear depending on what you want to risk. The first setup we're going to go over is the salad robe setup, or the most basic setup. This is what I personally started PKing in. And the risk is only around 200 to 400 K, which is not too bad, depending on what you want to risk. So right now, what I have wearing right here is it's gonna be about 200K risk. But even with this setup, there are upgrades that you can make. So what we are wearing is just full Zeritian with climbing boots. We have rune gloves unlocked. You may not. You can substitute that for a combat bracelet. And we have a basic air staff, free-to-play staff, ring of recoil, an unholy book. This is from the Horror from the Deep quest, really crucial unlock, as well as our Guthix cape. This is from Mage Arena 1. Again, another crucial unlock. However, if you don't have these unlocked, you may substitute this with a spirit shield already, though that is quite some money, as well as an Ardoin cloak. That's not horrible as well. So with this setup, you are more than capable at getting any kills. This is how I started. I just began hunting in the Rev caves, and some notable upgrades you're able to make is the Helm of Nadasnot, which is about a 50K upgrade. So your risk goes from 200K to 250K when you toss this on. But as we see, the upgrade is 3 prayer, 3 melee strength, as well as a really, really good defense. So the Helm of Nadasnot is probably one of the best upgrades you can make, depending on how much risk you want to take. Another upgrade, as you saw, we were rocking a regular air staff. This is about 5K, maybe less. Now we can upgrade to the Mystic air staff, which is a 20K upgrade, and this would give us a little bit more mage as well as mage defense. It also doubles as a melee, so I could hit people. You could, just do some staff bashes. It's not horrible, especially when you're starting out PKing. Also, to continue with this setup, since you are just starting out as a PKer, I do recommend you only bring regular food. So Karambwans, mana fish, as well as anglerfish. Do not bring brews at this point, because that's just it. Learning to eat with brews, Saradomin brews, is a whole different scenario, and that's a different PK style. So for beginning, just start with regular food. Make sure to pot up before you go out, and then you just make your way to the Rev entrance. And before I forget, with this setup, this setup only consists of a 2 to 3-way switch. So depending on your skill level, you may not want to bring black d'hide legs and instead just permanently wear your mage robes, and this makes the PKing a bit easier. So when you are chasing someone, you don't have to click 3 items to change each time. So you can just do damage, and then when they're about to run, it's just a 2-way switch, and then you go for the snare. Once you get better, you can add a third 3-way switch, but there's not really a 4-way switch for this budget setup. So once you do master the 3-way setup, I recommend you go to the next setup. For this next mid-level setup, we made quite a bit of upgrades, and our gear comes out to a risk level of about 600 to 700K, 600 to 800K, we'll say. Depending on what you want to risk. So with this setup, we made a Barrow's Glove upgrade. So hopefully at this point you've gotten some rune gloves. Those are at least better than the combat bracelet. And if not, I suppose you can stay with the combat bracelet. But we upgraded our staff, so now we have an Aram staff. Next we have an imbued Sarah cape. So also known as the Mage Arena 2 cape. This is, again, pretty crucial. We're rocking the Nezi helm. We switched from climbing boots to mystic boots, and or you could go with dragon boots. Dragon boots aren't too bad, but that's a bit of an upgrade, 100k right there. So we're also rocking mystic as well, and as you can see, it is a 4-way switch now. You can choose to just drop the fourth switch and still go with a 3-way switch, and this would be just as fine. And at this point, you could either continue to eat regular fish, such as anglerfish and karambwans, or you can begin to start using Ceradomin brews, which for the next setup, you will want to use Ceradomin brews. Another crucial change that we made with this setup is we changed from fire runes to smoke runes, because previously we were using an air staff along with fire runes, which let us use whatever surge we're able. So if you don't have fire surge yet, that's okay. Just use whatever you can, and use those according runes. So I had water surge. I began PKing with wind surge. So it really doesn't matter, but make sure your runes are according. And this food setup, you can copy this as well. This should do you just fine in this setup. So with this last setup, we can take it one of two ways. We can go my favorite, the DPS or damage way, which consists of the ballista as well as the tome of fire. This is again my preferred way. It's a 3-way / 4-way switch, depending which sort of style you want to use or are going from. And this is going to cost us roughly 2 to 3 mil, depending on what we have and what upgrades we want to make. Upgrades can consist anywhere from, getting God D'hide instead of regular D'hide. That is a bit of a defense bonus, but oftentimes not worth the price. As well as you can upgrade to Brimstone Boots, which again, I can't quite say this is a worthwhile efficient upgrade, because it's 700k for a bit of defense, given it's some decent defense. And lastly, the last upgrade, probably the best, but a bit expensive, to say the least, is the smoke battle staff, or smoke staff. They're the same. But what this does is it clears up an inventory spot, so when you wield this, obviously you don't need smoke runes or whatever runes you're using, as well as it gives a 10% damage boost to spells on the normal book. So Fire Surges is on the normal book, which will in turn give you more damage. So depending on what upgrades you want to make, this setup, this damage orientated setup, is going to cost you around 2 to 5 mil. 5 mil, 4.3 mil being on the higher end. That's funny. That's funny. We really walked into the homie right now while we're doing the video. Really, really is a small world. Anyways, to continue, so the second way we can take it for the high level setup is the more defensive route, which consists of a spirit shield as well as a 4-way switch. So previously we didn't have the spirit shield, now we do. Though we can instead, if we still want to make this an even more damage orientated setup, we can switch out the spirit shield, keep the tome of fire. So say we drop this. So if we switch that out, our mage is even more enhanced. So if we take a look, we're risking around 3.3 mil, which isn't horrible. 3 mil is pretty modest. But if we take a look, we have a mage bonus of 17. So on top of that, we have the Tome of Fire, which is 10% for fire spells. So our mage is going to be kind of off the charts. So the mage DPS on this is pretty good. And you have the AGS to follow up as well. Depending on what you want to upgrade, you could either go the defensive route, such as this. Or if you want to spend half a mil, you can go the occult. Or I recommend going the extra full mil for a Tome of Fire. Holy fuck, we ran into another one of the homies. That was the homie. What the hell? What the hell? Anyway, That will conclude the second installment of our PK series. Stay tuned for our next video in which we'll be going over scenarios you're likely to encounter during your first PKs.